I don't want to start too early. I've heard of some parents starting in year 2, year 3, and I think my child just won't cope with that at the moment. And, should I wait till year 5 or should I start in year 4? When do I start? Hi there, this is Joycelyn. I'm the Managing Director of Geek School Tutoring. A very common question that comes up is, when do I start the 11 plus preparation? I don't want to start too early. I've heard of some parents starting in year 2, year 3, and I think my child just won't cope with that at the moment. And, should I wait till year 5 or should I start in year 4? When do I start? That's the topic of today's video. So, my advice in prep for the 11 plus is to start as early as you can. Starting as early as you can requires some basics. So, your child should know their times tables 1 to 12 at a snap instant. Sorry, there was something else I was going to say. I'm not really sure why I'm even clicking my fingers, but anyway. So if I said, what's 4 times 4? It'd be 16. What's 12 times 12? 144. That's a child that knows their times tables. Children who are counting on their fingers, some of them repeat the question back to you to try and buy some time. All of these strategies or techniques that children use point to not knowing the times tables well enough. So by the end of year 3, ideally your child would know times tables 1 to 12 off by heart, confidently, without the need to write them out, without the need to pause and have a think and add one thing to another number and so on. And the reading. I can't emphasize the importance of reading enough in the 11 plus, especially for grammar schools, because things are changing so much. And a lot of the papers now are really being very intense, where vocab and the understanding of word meanings are concerned. And so if you decide to wait until year 5, these things need to be ironed out so that when you start your 11 plus preparation, it's a much smoother journey for the child. My personal recommendation is that children start the 11 plus preparation in year 4. And the reason for this is that it gives them a chance to fill in any gaps in their knowledge. It enables parents or tutors or the two to highlight some key areas of work, manage that in a stress-free way. I don't believe that children should be stressed and pressurized during the 11 plus process. I did the 11 plus myself 100 years ago, as I tell my students, and I really don't see the purpose of stressing children. They're already doing extra work at home, so free time is reduced compared to their friends who maybe not being vocal about preparing for the 11 plus or will not be doing it at all. And it can be quite a lonely journey, sat at a desk yet again doing papers or doing exercises in books or test papers and assessments in books and so on. When, maybe you can hear your old friends squealing with delight outside, especially during... And there you are, yet again, at the table, doing all this work. I don't believe it should be stressful. And by that, I mean, just the constant overwhelm of life is over if you don't do the 11 plus. I'm the biggest advocate of the 11 plus because I believe in giving children all available opportunities. And for those who live in a borough that don't have the best of schools, or maybe there's just one good school in the borough, the rest of them are really underperforming, but then you have a child who's really capable, you know, you'd want to get them into the best school you can. And that's why a lot of parents send their children to geek school. Most of our students apply for grammar school places out of borough, because the borough that they often live in do not have grammar schools. So parents have to sort of motivate their children a bit more, because those children need to do very well compared to children who live in the borough who literally just need to pass, you know, the exam to be in with an excellent chance of being offered a grammar school place. So I think year 4 is always the better time to start, because it's a nice, easy way in, you know, so we can check on things like times tables. So maybe, you know, the last 3 in the 12 times tables, the child doesn't know it. It's not so stressy, you know, and they can go through the fundamentals in their writing, in their maths knowledge and so on, to really help them to get to grips with all of these things in their own time, and, you know, sort of a softly approach. And the idea is to get them ahead so that year 5 is also stress-free. So if it's done properly, year 4 is a fantastic time to start the 11 plus preparation, because it's just a better thing and it gets them used to working. I don't understand why some parents, teachers are against tuition. I think I have ideas, but I wouldn't like to generalize on this. But some of the reasons for that is because there are instances where students stay overnight at tuition. You know, they do like 6 hours every week, several times a week. Like, you know, on a Friday evening, Saturday evening, and then they're going in after school. I'm not an advocate of that, because I've seen the impact that has on children, and they often just get so fed up, so exhausted, and so detached from the process that a child who is capable, I've seen them just switch off. And I've seen it, not because Geek School does that. We don't do that. You know, they have 2-hourly sessions, and because of the way the lessons are delivered and the 11 plus preparation has been structured by myself over a number of years, there is no need to put them under undue stress. And again, because I prepared for the 11 plus as well, I went to a private school from the age of 11 right till the end of 6th form. I understand what that journey's like, and pressure does not equal success. So that's something to put out there to parents who are watching this. It's about the quality of the work that's being done. Better to do 2 solid hours of quality work with some papers along the week, during the week, than to have a child doing 3 or 4 sessions of tuition from different tuition providers, and they're exhausted, have no time to finish any homework because every evening is another tuition provider. That isn't how to pass the 11 plus. If a child is ready and they're diligent, they will do well, you know, so please don't stress that way. So starting in year 4 can avoid a lot of that, because they've had the time to really learn what they need to learn and, you know, get the job done, really. So that is when I think 11 plus preparation should start. I'm not an advocate of waiting till the summer of year 5, because the exams are getting increasingly competitive and children are starting early so that they're on the right track. So if a child starts in the summer and there are lots of gaps, number one, it puts them under undue pressure. I mean, children are not a different species. They know when they're not doing well in the papers. And in August, there's no point locking a child away in August and saying, right, this is it. let's cover everything for the 11 plus. That is not the way forward, in my view. You may hear some parents saying that's all they did. And for some children, that might be fine if they've had a really easy journey in learning, where they're in the top sets for everything and they're being really pushed at school. That might be fine. But then some parents fib a bit, and I mean that with all due respect. You know, they don't want anyone to know that their children have been tutored for a year, 2 years or more. They want it to seem as if they hardly did anything. And so they say all sorts of things, and it's a shame, really. But again, it's because the 11 plus domain is just so competitive. And often, if you have a child who is in the same year group as another parent, they're not always freely offering advice. But if there's a difference in their year groups, you'll find that you get more advice from those parents. So I would seek their advice more than anything and get going, you know, especially on the fundamentals that I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and share this video, and send any questions you have in the comments, and I'll do my best as usual to answer them. And yes, see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe to the Geek School Tutoring channel, and to switch on your notifications so that you can get an alert every time a new video is uploaded. Don't forget to check out Geek School Tutoring shop too. It's full of exam passing books, posters, dictionaries and other 11 plus SATs and GCSE goodies you need in your life right now. Head over to our shop at www.geekschool.co.uk/Geek School Shop.